What up, everybody? It's Ponzer here, and today we've got a more of a post-mortem on the 2020 December 19th Matchmode games. So we're looking at a spect game that I didn't play in from those games played on last Saturday. And this one, this was a very representative game, and I also just happened to save the replay. But before we get into this game, it was a decent one, I just wanted to talk about the match modes overall. So I think the event was a success. Thank you all who attended and showed up, and also a special thanks to J-Man who's hosted. He's hosting the servers and also streamed the whole damn thing. And I'll post a link to the Twitch VOD because there's a few games I want to tell you guys about that you should all watch. And then I hope that he'll post the VOD to YouTube eventually, because I believe the Twitch VODs don't last forever. And if he does, I'll post that link as well. Because the whole event, it was about a 5-hour event. We played 13 games, one of which was like a 2v2 kind of jokes game. But of those 13 games, I think 6 of them were played on Seaside. So that's another reason why I chose this replay, is because it's another fucking Seaside game. And I don't think there's anything wrong with playing Seaside that much in these types of games, but I know some people were salty about it, and wanted to keep count. So there's your count. Close to 50% of the games were on Seaside. The other games, there was a game on Bridge, which was funny. 2 games on Hometown, both of which were good, although there were some connection issues that marred one. There's a game on Riviera, which was probably one of the best games we played that day, and then there's a game on Xmas, which I'll talk about, and then a game on Space Needle, which was just for fun, I think. And I didn't really do much stats on wins and losses, but I did keep count of so I won 6 games and J-Man won 6 games, so we were kind of tied on the W's. I don't know how many games either of us played in total, so didn't really care that much about this. But overall, I think it was just a very good event. Like, the stream was comfy. There was no drama, no raging. General X, he minimized the amount of toxicity that he brought to the table. I think he came in kind of at the end of the day, so he didn't really have a chance to get going. But yeah, there was no really bitter insults or slurs thrown around. So I think that can be considered a success in itself. And really, like, the only insults were just kind of funny. Like, General X called J-Man Noob Man, which is just, funny. And in terms of the games that you should check out, I think the best game, in my opinion, was played at the 38-minute mark of the VOD. So if you go into the Twitch VOD, just set it to 38 minutes. It's like a 4v4 on Seaside with myself, J-Man, and Teflon Don, and Stranik, who just kind of just showed up not knowing what was going on and just played, and it was just hilarious with him yelling at us in his Russian accent. So yeah, it was a funny game. The Bridge game, which is at the hour minute, it's like 1 hour and 14 minutes. That was pretty funny. And I think at the 3 hour and 47-minute mark, there's a Seaside game with just some good political discussion. Some interesting ideas coming from Diamer about the efficacy of barrel bombing and Syrian politics, which I mean it's always nice to hear different perspectives, but yeah. So that was the stream overall, 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed the event, and I think a lot of people also enjoyed it. There is some issues. I think and this is why I kind of chose this game as well. It really shows, like, look at these teams, okay? Like, you know, we're gonna have to think about how to do this going forward, because I think we've overcorrected for what happened in 2017, which was very, very stacked teams with kind of some high stakes, and like everyone's trying really hard, and like no noobs, no mediocre players. Like it's only the very best on both teams, and everyone's taking it very seriously. And then when things don't work out, you get mad and there's drama and whatever. So in these cases, we just kind of always had a noob on each team, or like a couple noobs on each team to kind of balance things out. So like you would have these interesting teams like this one. I'll talk about USA side in a second, but like this one, you've got J-Man, Diamer, and Weesk, and those are like three very strong players. And then you have kind of the pub star players like Batfish and Frennock, who know they've played. Like I know Frennock's played some match modes, but he's like a pub player. And same thing with Batfish, he's a pub player. Like they don't think in match mode, so they're just gonna do weird calls. Like Frennock and Seraph are always like playing match modes and doing dumb shit, like holding on, like they're playing air and they hold on to like 30 TA until the last minute. And then like same with Clark. Like Clark's a nice guy, but he doesn't know how to play match modes properly. Like he does not know the meta. His armor play in pubs is pretty deplorable, and in match modes it's just unacceptable. So, but then you've got you put him on a team like this. Like this is like the literally the best four players all together. If you threw in like a good inf player, like if you gave this team like a Cat or J-Man or Silver playing inf, it would be unstoppable. Like I think this would be probably like, it's a cool team to have, but like it would be pointless because no one could beat them. And this guy, this is Knife. I can't pronounce his fucking name, but I'm just gonna call him Knife from now on. But yeah, incredibly strong team, and really like they only have one noob. These guys have kind of two noobs. And like the other thing is Wally and Gut and Maj are probably like the best in class. Like Wally is probably the best, like the MVP of support right now, especially on this match mode day. So what is a team like if there's nobody else better in these matchups? Like if this player is going to win the support matchup, this player is going to win the air matchup, this player is also going to win the air matchup, Knife is going to win whatever matchup he's in because he's fucking incredible. And Clark's going to lose, but it doesn't matter because they've won 4 out of 5 matchups. And here's the response. Like I think this is the correct kind of move by Red 4 or USSR, is to start with mediums. And that's another thing we saw a lot of on the match modes, is mediums really, we saw the, like mediums are pretty much in every game because air is so potent. But really, like it's not enough. Against like good players prevented the cap, and Maj has like spawn raped them already and got away with it, and now they're both gonna like pile into town and continue to deny the cap. And yeah, Clark's gonna overextend and die as well, but it doesn't matter. And see, watch this. Like there's no AA left other than this medium. They kill the inf in the open. They kill the medium. Like they're killing everything. And yeah, like the medium chopper player can't really do anything about it. So yeah, we're gonna have to think about the teams. Like on one hand, it's nice to not be exclusionary, especially when everybody's sitting in the same Discord and you can't just be like, "Hey man, fuck off! Like we don't want you. You're trash. We want this better player," because that makes people feel bad, and then the better player who comes in now has the pressure on because like they kick somebody out of that spot so they could play, so now they have to play really well. I think that's where you get the toxicity and the drama in certain games. But on the other hand, like USSR needed a better player to kind of fill in the gaps to make it a little more competitive. So I think on one, like you could have set teams, you could have clans where like people are maybe a little more understanding to be like replaced if it's like a clan game. But this way, you mean if we just wanted to maximize the number of games being played by and having a variety of players playing in those games, I think this is the right way to do it. Like, just keep it open. Don't be too persnickety about who can play and who can't play. Just let everybody play, and you deal with the consequences. Like, don't take, and ultimately you just won't take the games very seriously. But I think another thing we have to think about is like, you can't let these kind of devastating stacks happen, or else the games are going to be very one-sided. But then, there's like, if there's 4 or 5 players who are just unstoppable, just make sure they're split up or something. I don't know, or make sure that there's a good matchup. Like in this case, like J-Man's usually pretty unstoppable in town, but when he's going up against Knife, Knife shows that he is actually very stoppable in a lot of cases. And like, I just want to highlight this. This is good. Let's highlight Knife's play here. He's got the sniper on the beach doing work. He's got a Reg and Fear securing the flank. He's got a ton of paras in this little nook. And this little nook, I hate this place. Like, when I go up against J-Man, I always get wiped out here. But Knife is surviving. He's got his AT in town in the right spot. And he got a couple more pairs here. And then he's also got this, which you don't see a lot of these days, but man, is it effective. If you can micro the med art properly, and if you start off with it and you get it ranked up by capping and forwarding, it becomes very potent anti-infantry, and it can really shut down an INF player. Of course, not if it gets destroyed immediately, but yeah. So Knife does a very good job of controlling J-Man, and that's kind of like the first recipe for success. The next recipe for success is the double air coming out of Maj and Gut, and it's just really, oh yeah, this is not a recipe for success. Like a useless scout dropped by Clark that just sits in the back and does nothing. Meanwhile, he's just rolling 3 heavies unsupported forward, mixing some lights, man. Like, for fuck's sake. It's just so, like, he's only saved by Wally just being unstoppable. Like, look at this shit. It's fucking rolling around through the through the back half of the map. Ridiculous. So yeah, like, yeah, so that's a good, like, the Inf is a good matchup. The split air coming out of Gut and Maj, and the Gut's slowly going to transition to mediums, which I guess is like all you can do against a dedicated medium player. And we'll see who gets the, it's always a risk staying heavies against a medium player, because he's just going to rank up his choppers and slowly win air supremacy. And then even if you switch halfway through the game, it's too late. No, and that's a great, yeah, kill that sniper, man. Can't let those open snipers stay alive. That's so critical. Another thing, just to circle back to Knife's infantry, like, notice he's not attacking the research at this point. Like, research is, but he is dropping devastating carpet bombs. Holy shit. Look at that. That's beautiful. Just killing everything. And it's gonna open up another cap. Just, he's not pushing here. He's not doing drops over here. Like, a lot of inf players will expend a lot of energy to get over into this forest, but from the USA side, it's really not worth it. Because like USSR can quickly spawn in like a sniper and reinforcements and really shut you down and easily recap research. Instead, he's focusing on holding this, and like, until the town gets destroyed by nukes, that is the correct place. And notice, like, he's basically being the armor player, helping out with caps and beach, and setting up nicely spread out infantry to deal with to be like the kind of DPS machines. And there's a nice cap of town too. Like, good for you, Clark. You got a cap. But yeah, the armor player really should be putting a heavy here and a couple lights here at all times. Like you can't just focus entirely on town. So yeah, that's just excellent play by Knife. I hope to see him play some more. I hope we could get some more DC guys back out in the woodwork. Like Swoosh has played a few games, but I don't know if he's really wants to play match modes. Even Silver's come out of the woodwork recently, but again, I don't think he has the time or the inclination to play really competitive match modes. But you know, hopefully, like, man, like for all you really good players kicking around out there who are like, well, I could play match modes again, but I can't deal with the toxicity and like the pressure of how I remember match modes, for instance. Like, it's not the case anymore. Like, these games are really chill. Like, you know, win or lose, everyone goes back into the same Discord and like shit talks. Like, even the game we really tried hard in, and it's the Europeans versus the North American team, like where I guess like there was national and supranational, you know, continental honor on the line. It was still pretty, like, I went and swore at the Europeans afterwards, but I think it was a non-toxic game. But tellingly, like, Majestics sat that one out because he didn't want to deal with the potential drama. But it was like, we had Diamer and General X on the same team, and they played nicely together. They shared TA. There was no racial slurs or like questioning of like sexual orientations. Like, it was just a very they played well, and they actually won that game. Spoiler alert. But so I think these days, you know, we're kind of over the try-hard drama of match modes. And I think it's also like the games, if anyone stays up late on North American time, the games that we've been playing on J-Man's servers, which kind of acted as a precursor to these, and it's just mostly this Common Sense and Exile dudes, and like a few Insomniac Europeans coming together. And like those, you know, we're treating them like training games. You know, we're not like, everyone's trying to win, but nobody takes winning or losing seriously. And, you know, we're just kind of in it for the games themselves. And I think that is the mindset that's going to keep Wick playable, even in the face of, you know, death, you know, from player base attrition. Because, like, yeah, you really just can't afford being toxic in Wick anymore. Like, you just can't, because if people aren't having fun, they're not going to play it. Like, there's no other reason to play other than to have fun now. And that's a nice cap. Nice cap by USSR. I think that's just to talk about the game, I guess. Like, USSR's path to victory was really like nuking a lot sooner. Like, as soon as you realize that J-Man has lost the fight in town, you gotta, no, and that's a Clarkism right there. Like a shitty, fucking useless bullshit TA. You know, the dude should just be giving all his TA to somebody else. But yeah, like, yeah, you needed to take town a lot sooner and nuke a lot sooner. But maybe they, like, look at the score difference, and this is how Wally wins games. Like, he's sitting on 2K. He's like double the score generation, and like, look at all these ranked up Jeeps and the ranked up. You know, and this guy he just repairs like a motherfucker, and I think he repairs like a motherfucker. He keeps the AA alive. He's always involved in caps. Just impeccable. He's always, you know, he's always shooting at air players and keeping them on their toes and being aggressive with the AA, but not too aggressive. And he's always hitting those scouts and just making the heavy air player, you know, think again before diving. Even on one AA from Wally is more dangerous than like 2 or 3 AAs from some noob. So yeah, he's just really tough to manage against, and he's just gonna out TA, like TA generate you. And then, you know, on top of that, you got these 2 air players also generating lots of points, and they're just probably just feeding the inf and the support players themselves. as they should. So yeah, it's very like, you know, just to bring it back to the whole match modes. Like, these are pretty close games for the most part, but you know, just one extra noob or one extra like good, very very good player is all it takes. So that's pretty good. You flew right into that. Jeez. You know, is all it takes to really have to unbalance a game and make it a stomp. And you know, like a play like kind of middle of the road. Like, I'm like a middle of the road player. To like add me to like this team probably wouldn't even have like unbalanced it or like rebalanced it or something. Like, you need like a superstar player on this team. You need like a couple of superstar players on this team to like make it balanced again, make it competitive. And I think that's also what they noticed in the 2017 match modes. It was like, yeah, whatever team has Tony Abbott on Inf is gonna win. And like, even like the equivalent, like even the equivalency of like silver is not gonna counteract that. So I think in this case it was like whatever team had Wally playing support is gonna win, unless like you put a bunch of millstone retards on his team. Like, he'll probably still find a way, like he does in pubs all the time. So yeah, we're gonna have to think about that. I think we should do, you know, once my carpal tunnel recovers, like we should do some more match modes probably in January. Like, it looks like we're all gonna be locked down for the foreseeable future. And yeah, there's a double nuke. That's a nice one. And we'll just enjoy that. So yeah, we're probably all going to be locked down for the foreseeable future. So there's definitely going to be more Saturdays. And yeah, it's like it took 5 hours on a Saturday. Like, what else are you going to do? You know, tell your spouse to go and like see your boyfriend, and you know, lock your children outside, and just set aside some time to play Wick in match modes. And I'll post another, well, what's it called, a survey, and we'll find out when everybody's available. So I think these are good. I think we should keep doing it. And yeah, like pubs are fun, but man, these match mode games were so much better. Like, there was no one-sided games like that were ended in stomps. Like that, you know, took 8 minutes. Like, they were all very, like, they all went down to the wire pretty much. Even this was like a very one-sided, and it was still pretty close. Well, maybe not pretty close, but it was like, this was the most one-sided game we had pretty much, which is just the way the chips fell on the teams. So yeah, I think there's a good future in these match mode days. And yeah, just hopefully we can keep the game alive by doing these types of events. I hope to see you guys at the next one. All right, later.